Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Backyard Show on AM 1250 Radio Disney Pittsburgh WDDZ.
This is the show that deals with things you care about right here in our own backyard.
The Backyard Show happens on Radio Disney every week at this time when we focus on important issues happening in our community.
We'll talk about ways to get involved in the community and volunteer. Or maybe we'll just learn something new.
If you're a first-time listener, here's how the Backyard Show works. Each week we pick a topic, bring in guests, and talk about the things that concern you.
Now, here's your host with the most, DJ Daniel.
Yo and hello, this is DJ Daniel here on the Backyard Show on Radio Disney AM 1250 WDDZ Pittsburgh. And today on the Backyard Show, we've got a great one. We've got a great Backyard Show because today we've got some friends in here from Friends of Riverfront. We've got Sarah and Dave joining me on the Backyard Show today. We're going to learn all about Friends of Riverfront. How are you guys doing today?
Doing fine, thanks.
You guys are doing pretty good? That's what I like to hear. So we're going to have a good show today. All right, first, got to ask, what is Friends of Riverfront?
Friends of the Riverfront is a 20-year-old organization that is dedicated to increasing awareness in Pittsburgh's riverfronts, what Pittsburgh is famous for, really, through creating the Three Rivers Heritage Trail for walking and biking in the city and the Three Rivers Water Trail for kayaking and canoeing right on the rivers.
That's pretty cool.
Very cool.
Because, I mean, if you go into Pittsburgh, from any way you go into it, you have to see water at some point.
Right.
Yeah, so, I mean, why is Friends of Riverfront important? Why do you think it's important?
I mean, we're really, I think, central to what Pittsburgh is about, which is, you know, if you know Pittsburgh at all, if you hear of Pittsburgh, you hear of the Three Rivers. And, you know, that's really what we're all about, is connecting people to those rivers.
That's right. If there weren't an organization like Friends of the Riverfront, you'd be looking at the river. You wouldn't be getting down to it. You'd be driving over it and looking at it from bridges or from streets that run along it. But if you actually want to walk next to it or actually get down to the water and paddle on it, you need an organization like Friends to put together the trails that get there.
Yeah, definitely. How long has Friends of Riverfront been around? How long has this been going on?
We just celebrated our 20th anniversary last year in 2011, so we are 21 now.
That's awesome. So you're 21 now.
21.
Not going to say what that entails, but that's pretty awesome. So you've been around for 20 years. How long have you guys been involved with Friends of Riverfront?
I've worked with Friends of the Riverfront for 3 years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've been on the board, I lose track, 3 or 4
Forever.
years, about the same.
About 3 or 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So what are some of the things you guys do for Friends of Riverfront?
I do a little of everything. Everything from our publications to events, our social network, the website, going out to community events and, you know, hanging out with people, having fun. That's, you know, a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
I'm actually a research scientist at Pitt, so this is my hobby.
Yeah?
And I
awesome.
came to Friends kind of sideways because I started paddling in a kayak in the city, and I thought, surely there must be an organization around here somewhere that I can go to find out, how do I get down to the river? Because you can wander around the city a lot. It's actually pretty hard to get down to the water. Usually if you get right to the river's edge, you're standing on some sort of 20-foot bank that overlooks the river, and you're not
true.
like you're going to jump in. But if you want to find a ramp or a gravel path or something, there's actually not that many of them. And Friends turned out to be the organization that's actually engineering these water access points.
So you brought in some paddles with you today. I mean, you got to tell me. I mean, did you kayak here? I mean, it's kind of hard to do that on the highway, on the roads to get to the station.
Oh.
Well, the kayak is actually in the boat, but I actually it's in the back of the car. Getting to the river from my house takes about an hour's worth of walking. I mean, I could drive my boat there, but I figured, why use the car? I'd rather leave the car at home. And that way, when I get to the river, I don't have to come back to a car that's waiting for me. I like to be able to use the rivers without using the vehicle. You know, I think that's a little more eco-friendly. But the problem is getting the boat to the river. So I have a baby stroller that I put the kayak on.
Yeah.
So I can just kind of pull it around like on a trailer behind me as I walk along. It seems kind of dorky, but it's actually kind of smart because it allows me to take one-way trips on the river in the city.
Yeah.
And I never have to do a round trip and get back to a vehicle that's waiting. I can go downtown, take my boat out and park it, lock it up, and go to a restaurant somewhere or go see a show.
I think if you would have paddled into the studio today, if you could have done it, you would have.
Well, I have been known. I've been known to take this thing overland as far as 9 miles once. I walked from Morningside down to Braddock to put the boat in down in Braddock and floated down to the point from there. So
that would be pretty hysterical to see. I'm not gonna lie, that would have been pretty hysterical to see you trying to paddle up the hill up to the station. That would have been that would have been pretty funny. This is DJ Daniel here on the Backyard Show on Radio Disney AM 1250 WDDZ Pittsburgh. If you're just joining us in here with Sarah and Dave of Friends of Riverfront. All right, so you guys have a lot of trails. Let's talk about some of those. All right, so you have the Heritage Trail.
Yes.
Right? What is the Heritage Trail?
The Heritage Trail is the collective name for the trail system that runs all over Pittsburgh. There's 22 miles altogether, and before the summer's over, we'll have another 2 miles, so 24 miles total. And it basically goes on all sides of all three rivers, connects up to a lot of really cool neighborhoods. The South Side, Lawrenceville. You can basically get anywhere within the city or around the city using the trails without ever having to get in a car or face traffic, anything like that.
That's a long trail.
Yeah.
It took a long time to put it together,
I can
too.
imagine.
20
Because
years.
it's, a little piece at a time. A property here comes available, or a property there can be leased. And one thing I've always admired about this organization is they work really well politically with all the organizations that are involved, that have to be involved in order to arrange rights of way across these pieces of property to put together a connected trail system.
Yeah, I mean, so how would that even start for you to, see like you want to start you want to add to the trail? I mean, how does that even start, or how does that go?
Well, I mean, right now we have pretty much everything within the city done, all around downtown Pittsburgh and out to the surrounding neighborhoods. And that all started just based on the abandoned land that was there after, the steel industry and everything, was in place there. And so, it started with the desire to reconnect people with those riverfronts, and now we're at the point where we're moving out and we're connecting even more people in communities, that don't live directly in the city. So it's a pretty big endeavor, but we're getting there. So
It takes a lot of conversations, and a lot of politicians are involved, like a county executive and mayors of various cities, and a lot of public planning sessions where the public of various communities are invited to come in and comment about plans or where the trail should go or where it shouldn't go. And some of these conversations actually have to start 10 years before the actual trail gets built, because you have to put together this consensus and then acquire the property and work out all this paperwork. And I defer to all of my very capable members on the board that understand all those legal and political ramifications.
What are some of the challenges that you guys have when it comes to adding to the trail? Because I know it's not as easy as you see a piece of land, you're like, hey, let's put a trail there. I know you got to go through a lot of hoops for that.
Right. There's a lot of landowners, especially in the city. A lot of the land has been used for different purposes, and so there's always, different issues that arise if you're trying to build, a trail here, to add on, to connect to Lawrenceville even, there's, many landowners that are involved in making that possible and getting the rights to continue the trail there. If there's any obstacles, if, there's something like a security issue that, you run into where you can't have the trail run the desired route. So how are you going to route around that? What are you going to do to make sure that, the trail doesn't stop there? It can continue on and connect more communities.
One of the success stories is in the back channel over by Washington Island, and that involved staying involved in the conversation well ahead of the whole Route 28 construction project, because at some point, if they're going to widen the road, that means the railroad tracks have to get bumped over, and if the railroad tracks get bumped over, well, that kind of bumped the trail over. Well, where's the trail going to go? There's no room left. And so by engaging in these long-term discussions, it got incorporated into the design of the whole highway widening project to take the trail out onto this newly constructed elevated kind of ramp, a boardwalk that goes along the back channel, which is a really cool part of the trail if you haven't tried it yet.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of work goes into putting the trail in. You never think about that, how much work goes into putting in some of these trails that a lot of people use. I mean, how do people respond to the trails? I mean, a lot of people use them, a lot of people like them. How does it work?
Oh man, people love the trails.
Yeah.
You see people out there every day, even if it's in the middle of winter and it's snowing, you see people out on the trails biking, walking their dog. And then during the summer, it's just crazy. I mean, everybody wants to get outside, and, the trail really provides that space for them to do that and get to wherever they need to go and, just take a stroll without, having to be somewhere. That's just their little piece of recreation within the city.
People are always asking for more connectivity. They want to be able to get from here to there and then from there to somewhere else on the trail. And by incorporating this kind of desire into urban planning, which is going on for now, this green corridor they're planning from the Strip District all the way up through Lawrenceville and up to Highland Park, they're maintaining in this whole plan a complete street system, which allows for room for cars and some sort of mass transit, but also a trail, because people want to use it to be able to get to work, and it might help sell property for residences along that whole strip.
Talking to Sarah and Dave of Friends of Riverfront here on the Backyard Show on Radio Disney AM 1250 WDDZ Pittsburgh. All right, you guys have the Three Rivers, you have the water trail as well. Talk to me about the water trail.
Dave?
This is a system, a kind of connected series of places where you can park a car and walk down some sort of a path or a ramp and get to a place where you could put a canoe or a kayak right into the river. In some cases, these are places where we share access with people with power boats, but there are places that are specifically designed for paddle craft too. What do we have? I think we've got 18 or 19 of these now all over the county. And we keep adding. I think there's another one going in up in Natrona sometime soon.
Yeah.
One just went in at Duck Hollow. So now if you're down at Waterfront seeing a movie or something and you go across that high metal bridge, you look down, way down where that 9-mile run comes out. We now have a boat ramp down there too. So increasingly there are places where you could put in at one place, float or paddle to another place, and then walk back on the trail even, back to your car. Paddling in the city is a big revelation too because, like I said, a lot of people cross over the rivers over the time but don't realize the view from the water itself of the city, which is pretty impressive. And every time I take my kids out in my boats, they think, wow, I can't believe this is right here in our backyard and we never even knew it. And it's a never-ending source of kind of surprise and amazement.
Yeah, because, I mean, that is one thing that, I mean, I have been around, I've lived around Pittsburgh. I grew up 45 minutes away. I live here now. And one thing I've never seen it from the water. I mean, I've never thought about that kind of perspective is, you see it when you come through the tunnels and you see the skyline, you see how great that is. But, I mean, I imagine it's got to be great to see from the water.
It's pretty amazing. And, that's one of the functions of the map is it can tell you places to go. And there is actually a concessionaire that actually rents kayaks. And people who have asked me before when they see me paddling, oh, is that fun? Should I get a boat? I tell them always, rent one first, because there are a certain number of people who, when they get out on the water, they hate it. I mean, there are people that just aren't really water types, and I'm a bad swimmer too, but that's why I brought that life jacket to remind everybody to wear your personal flotation device and make sure it's nice and snug, because you need to be prepared to get in the water if you're on the water.
Yeah, it's something you definitely need to try for sure. Something that if you have the opportunity, if it's right there, then at least try it. It might be your new favorite thing. That's
a very popular route. People put in down by PNC Park, and then they paddle for maybe a half hour upstream to that island, and then they come back and do a loop that way. It's a very beautiful stretch.
Yeah, I can imagine. That's definitely got to be awesome to see. You said you can rent kayaks someplace.
You can rent.
Where can you do that?
There's a group called Kayak Pittsburgh.
Okay.
They are right in front of PNC Park. Under the 6th Street Bridge. They have a stand, and they will really, help to make you aware of, everything you need to be aware of, safety precautions, and make even the most beginner paddler comfortable. Tell them where to go, everything like that. So that's a great way to try it. Before you run out and buy a boat, or before you, do anything too crazy. Just try it out, and that's, right in downtown. So you're definitely getting that view of Pittsburgh from the water right at the get-go.
They also rent tandem boats, so kids can be up front and the parent can be in the back, or vice versa. You can take turns.
That's pretty awesome. All right, you guys also, before we go to our first break, just want to touch on trail care that you guys have. What is trail care?
Trail care, through our volunteer program, Riverfronts Naturally, is a series of events through basically all the nice parts of the year in Pittsburgh. So roughly, April through November, we'll be out there on different sections of trail, doing events with volunteers of all ages, anything from picking up trash to installing a new bench, planting a tree, planting bulbs, basically everything that's needed to keep the trail up and running in good condition, make it a positive place for people to go, enjoy the outdoors.
And as far as the water landings, the rivers go up and down during the year. There's flooding, and every time the river goes back down, it leaves a lot of mud behind. So I have to keep an eye on some of these water trail access points to make sure we keep the mud shoveled off the ramp, or hose it down, or make sure that the driftwood is kind of pushed aside so you can get in and out of the river.
You're talking about volunteers. I mean, how can people get involved in some of the volunteer stuff you do?
It's so easy to get involved. On our website, it's www.friendsoftheriverfront.org. We have an events page and an events calendar, and basically all of our listed events are on that calendar. Most of them don't require any pre-registration. If they do, there's a simple link where you just say, hey, I want to participate, and most of them you can just show up on the day whenever's convenient and volunteer for about 3 hours. There's you always make friends doing it, and it's always a really fun event.
This is DJ Daniel here on The Backyard Show on Radio Disney AM 1250 WDZ Pittsburgh. In here talking to Sarah and Dave from Friends of Riverfront. We're going to take our first break of the day, and when we get back, we're going to talk about some of the events and activities they've got going on from Friends of Riverfront. This is DJ Daniel here on The Backyard Show.
Maybe you can't party on the trail, but you can party for the trail.
Trail Mix.
Celebrate the newest segment of the Three Rivers Heritage Trail at the Trail Mixer, supporting trail development in Pittsburgh. Live music and a DJ dance party with Slingshot Genius, the Turbo Sonics, and DJ Mary Mack, plus local art, fashion, and robot exhibits.
Party Mix.
The Trail Mixer, Saturday, June 16th from 5 to 11 p.m. at Robot City Roundhouse in Hazelwood. Parents look for ShowClicks with an X online and search for the Trail Mixer.
And we're back. This is DJ Daniel here on The Backyard Show on Radio Disney AM 1250 WDDZ Pittsburgh. In here talking to Sarah and Dave of Friends of the Riverfront. You guys have a lot of events, activities going up this summer. It's starting to get nice out. The Trail Mixer, what is it?
The Trail Mixer is our big fundraiser of the summer. It's a great party for everybody to come out and kind of show appreciation, and for us to show appreciation back for everything that everybody does. We're a membership organization, so you can be a member of Friends of the Riverfront. And the Trail Mixer really started as a membership event where it was membership appreciation, but now we open it up to the community, and we want everybody to get involved, and it's a really fun event to just come out and enjoy. We move around every year to a different place that is being affected or has been affected by a new section of trail or water trail landing. And this year we are at Robot City Roundhouse in Hazelwood, which is where our newest section of trail is, that 2 miles that we've added in this year. And it's a really cool old railroad roundhouse that is now being used to build and test robots with CMU, Carnegie Mellon. And so we're lucky enough to be able to use that spot that's right next to the new trail and kind of, pop up, with our events. We'll have music, an entire night of music, dinner with Pittsburgh Barbecue Company, which is going to be so delicious.
Oh, my God. First, I got to stop you real quick. Pittsburgh Barbecue Company. I'm not going to talk about food that much, but Pittsburgh Barbecue Company is the best barbecue in the world. Like, I kid you not.
They deserve to be talked about.
Yes.
It's going to be so delicious. Everything. I'm getting hungry now. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to seeing the location because I paddle past it all the time. And from the river, when you look up, it looks like an industrial site. You see railroad kind of, and just kind of the hardware that goes along with former steel mill area. So I'm really looking forward to seeing the site from the land to find out how the trail connects and goes through there.
Right.
When is the Trail Mixer?
It is Saturday, June 16th.
Okay.
It's in the evening. It's 5 till 11 p.m. And that's right around the solstice, so it's one of the longer nights of the year. So we have light until around 9 o'clock, so we take advantage of that and, have everybody out to listen to some music, do some dancing, have some local artists that will, be displaying their art. Even a fashion show will be involved this year. So that'll be really fun. We do an award each year. That's the Martin O'Malley Award. Okay. He is the founder of Friends of the Riverfront. And each year we designate the award to someone that has been an outstanding trail steward. And this year it's going to John Stephen, who was the first executive director and one of the founding members of Friends of the Riverfront.
In the past couple of years, it was people like Dan Honorado or Tom Murphy. These are people who were really champions and leaders, as John is,
instrumental
for the whole 20 years at trying to keep people abreast of this issue and trying to keep it on the front burner.
Why is it important to have this Trail Mixer?
It's really fun. We like to have fun.
Yeah.
Of
course.
It brings Friends of the Riverfront to a new audience, somebody that may not, get to us at some of our other events, or maybe somebody that hasn't even heard of us will be able to, come have a positive experience, learn a little bit about what we do in the trails, celebrate, something like the award, with somebody that has had such an impact, and hopefully will continue to be involved past the event.
It's also a good way to publicize a recent piece of work the organization has done to get people actually on site to think, oh, now I can ride from the Glenwood Bridge into Oakland along here, and I don't have to go along 2nd Avenue anymore.
Not quite the Glenwood Bridge. Now I can ride from the Hot Metal Bridge up through almost to the Glenwood Bridge.
I should have looked at the map. That's what the map is for.
But that's awesome. But I mean, that's awesome that you guys are putting on. You guys are putting on this event. Is it all ages? Like,
it's definitely all ages. Everybody comes out. Everybody has a great time.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, music, dancing, food, great picnic dinner, art. Silent auction.
Ooh, the silent auction.
We get some fun stuff for that.
Cool. Do you have to register for this, or can you just show up, or how does that work out?
There are tickets that can be purchased online. We're going through ShowClicks, and the website you can either get it off of friendsoftheriverfront.org under our events tab, or you can go to friendstrailmixer.com and get tickets there. There are also tickets at the door.
All right, cool. All right, in here on the Backyard Show, if you're just joining us, talking to Sarah and Dave of Friends of the Riverfront, you guys have the Pittsburgh Triathlon and Adventure Race coming up. I mean, that seems like a very, very big deal. Very big deal. All right, you guys got to tell me all about it.
The Pittsburgh Triathlon is a huge event.
Yes.
This year is our 15th year,
That's right.
I believe, and we have just changed from a one-day event to a two-day event. So now we're taking over a whole weekend in July. So we have maxed out in years past with 1,000 athletes coming in from all over the country. And this year we're able to accommodate double that.
And we pretty much take over the whole North Shore Riverfront Park down there, right in front of
right between
Huntsfield.
the stadiums, yeah. And, we have people, we have a couple different races, the Olympic distance, sprint distance, the adventure race, and relays. And if you don't know what a triathlon is, it is swimming, biking, and running. And for our adventure race, instead of swimming, you do kayaking.
All right, so you guys have, there's different stages. I know you have the Olympic, the sprint, the adventure. I mean, what goes in, what's the difference between all three of them?
The Olympic distance is a longer race. The sprint is a little shorter.
Yeah.
Both are extreme sports. I mean,
it's not something you would just show up and try.
No.
You can't just say, I want to do a triathlon today. You have to do, an intense amount of training and preparation, to get ready for it. And what people do a lot on their first year or even the first couple years is they'll compete as a relay team and have, 3 people, each person tackles one event.
I usually photograph the event or sometimes run video. I'm not a
So wait,
participant.
you're telling me you're not a participant?
I'm sorry.
Oh, disappointing.
But it's an amazing amount of logistics that go on to coordinate these kind of looped activities that are all going on from this one place. People swim up the river, and they get on their bikes, and then they go up the HOV lanes, and then come all the way back in the city. And if it's the Olympic, they do that twice. And then they get off their bike, and then they run up the river and back to do the run portion.
Right.
Wow. That just got me tired. To show you how out of shape I am. That just made me tired just thinking about having to do all that. I mean, but a lot of work has to happen with all of this. I mean, what are some of the things you guys have been doing to prepare? Oh, first off, when is it?
It is July 27th through 29th. I know I said 2 days, and that's 3 days, but we start the event off on Friday the 27th with an expo that features, all of our sponsors and gets the athletes ready for a great weekend. They can do their packet pickup and sign up and, all of that stuff on Friday, and then, move right into the events on Saturday and Sunday.
All right, so what are some of the things you guys have to do to get ready for this? It's coming up.
Oh, man. It's literally an entire year's worth of work that comes together in this fabulous weekend. We work with a great race director that helps take a lot of the work off of our back, and they run the whole race. And our job is to promote it, and we do a lot of the work from designing the trophies to promoting it in Pittsburgh and through all of our networks. And then just being there to survive the weekend with everybody. It's an intense weekend.
We help solicit the large number of volunteers that are required to help man the course so that participants know which way to turn or where to go. And then people to help, set up the barricades or people to take them down or to pick up the trash when it's over.
People to hand out water.
Oh, the water, yeah. It's pretty warm at the end of July. You
Yeah.
can believe that. And it's funny that when the swimmers show up from all over the country and are waiting to get into the river, sometimes they're really shocked at how warm the river gets during the summer. Last year, I think the water temperature was about 82, which is like
Wow.
a really warm swimming pool or kind of
Oh,
a
my.
bath water. And they had all come wearing these like neoprene suits, but that would actually be hazardous if they tried to swim with those wetsuits on because they would like get overheated.
Oh my goodness, 82 degrees. That's another thing that makes me tired. I don't know how people can do a triathlon, but that's an awesome event you guys are putting on. How can people? Is it not too late for people to register if they do want to, for some reason, go through this?
There are people that can do it with the training between now and then.
Very true.
And what is really astounding is all of like the younger demographic that is involved in this. We have had so many like first, second, third place winners that are all teenagers. They're all like 13 to 17. I think last year we had an 11-year-old that was one of the first place winners.
Wow.
So, I mean, even like, I'm like, I could never do this. And you see these guys that are coming through and you're just like, oh my goodness, that is an accomplishment.
Usually people have one sport that they're really strong in. They're either really good runners and then they kind of work on the biking, or they're really good bikers and they work on the running, but almost nobody works on the swimming. It's like they're just going to postpone that.
They're going to like throw that in and hope it works out.
I would need a team of 3. That's what I would need. I would need a team of 3.
Yeah, you could do that and start out that way and then work up to it.
Yeah, that's what I would need. I would definitely have to go with the relay team there. That's for sure. All right, Backyard Show is about to come to a close. About to come to a close. We're so close to being done. Before we get out of here, just want to wrap up. Trail Mixer is when?
Trail Mixer is June 16th. It's a Saturday from 5 till 11 at Robot City Roundhouse.
All right, and then we have the triathlon. That is
July 27th through 29th. And to answer your previous question, registration is definitely still open. We've filled up in past years, but I think this year there should be an opportunity for everybody to participate. Again, you can find that information from our website at friendsoftheriverfront.org, or you can go to pittsburghtriathlon.com and the information will be there.
all right. Awesome. All right, volunteers. How can people volunteer? Say that again.
Everybody can volunteer.
Okay.
As
you guys
often,
need a lot of volunteers.
Yes, we need a lot of volunteers.
You need a lot. Yeah.
Yes, we have pretty much one event at least per week through the summer months, and we need volunteers at every event. It's very easy to sign up from our website, friendsoftheriverfront.org. You can take a look at our events calendar under the events tab, check out any of the events, see what fits into your schedule and what interests you, and just come out. You know, if there's any pre-registration that's required, we'll always tell you that, and that's always really easy to do as well.
I really like those events because they're the perfect just show up event because we provide all the equipment and the water and the snacks and the gloves and the trash
Usually
bags
like
and all
lunch too.
Oh yeah. You stick around long enough, the pizza shows up.
Yes.
That doesn't hurt.
Nice. All right. Before I get you out of here, just gotta ask you guys: why should people get involved with the Friends of the Riverfront? Why should people get involved?
Wow, why shouldn't you? No. It's you know, as a Pittsburgher, you know, the rivers and the riverfronts are really central to what we have here in the city and around the city. Basically, any neighborhood that you live in, or you know, or anything that you do, any place that you like to go, is probably close to the riverfront.
Yeah.
And you know, it's a wonderful free amenity that is there that you can, you know, take advantage of and get involved with. So, you know, however you would want to get involved is, you know, definitely something that you should do. I mean, we like to have fun. We like to make positive change in the city with the trails and the water trail and provide lots of ways to get involved.
Every time Pittsburgh shows up on one of these 10 best places to live lists and people are really shocked, the natural environment always factors heavily in some of these decisions. And this is a great way to actually see how good it really is. And I'd like people to get out there and see it in all of its greatness now, because it can be even better. And I want people to get engaged with promoting Pittsburgh from its natural side and helping it to get even better.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you guys so much for coming in here on the Backyard Show and taking some time out. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks, Daniel.
All right, I hope you guys had a good time. I hope
we
you
had a great time.
All right, that's what I like to
could go another 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Sarah, Dave, thank you guys so much. And if you guys want more information for Friends of Riverfront, go to
www.friendsoftheriverfront.org.
All right, that's what I like to hear.
She's
Thank you,
good.
guys.
She's
I know
good.
she's good. Right on cue. Right on cue. I threw it right at you too. All right, this has been DJ Daniel here on the Backyard Show on Radio Disney AM 1250 WDDZ Pittsburgh. We'll see you guys same time next week. Have a good one.